The Substance is the new body horror film from French director Coralie Farge, starring Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. And it's admittedly a little hard to talk about because the trailers have given away maybe 1% of the horrific gore it offers. And the best way to go in, if and only if you have the stomach for it, is to know as little as possible. So without diving too much into the mutilation, let's just say this is visually the most messed up movie I've seen in years. Doesn't begin to cover it. This movie answers the question of what if Barbie was directed by David Cronenberg after he downed a bottle of Blue Chew. The story sees Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle, the host of a popular jazzercise program who is getting forced out of her job now that she's turning 50. Growing increasingly self-conscious about her appearance, she's contacted by a mysterious group that offers her a drug known as the Substance. Once she takes it, she'll create a younger, better-looking, quote-unquote, perfect clone of herself. Here's a hint as to how that works.
Life finds a way
to make me vomit!
But the procedure comes with some pretty strict rules. While the clone is awake, Moore has to stay in what's effectively a coma for 7 days. And the clone, who eventually goes by the name Sue, has to stabilize by injecting herself with more spinal fluid every day. Then after 7 days, the two switch places. And if you've ever seen an episode of Black Mirror, you already know that the moment the movie introduces its rules, at least one person is going to try to break them, and the results will be disastrous. And they are. Qualley, being the hot, young sex symbol that quickly takes Moore's place, immediately does just that, and her decision to break one of the rules causes Moore's body to start decaying, creating effectively a war between the two where neither side can directly communicate with the other. The movie has quite a bit it wants to talk about. Hollywood's obscene objectification of women, its complete lack of interest in women beyond a certain age, the unrelenting creepiness of certain industry bigwigs, the beauty standards society places on women, the internalized self-hatred that can spawn as a result, and the fear of showing any signs of aging, even though it's literally something all living beings go through. And all of it gets delivered with the subtlety of a hot pink sledgehammer strapped to the end of a... But honestly, who needs subtlety when the imagery on screen harkens back to these lovely faces? My biggest question looking back on the film is that it's hard to tell if its modern, minimalistic style is always an artistic choice or a way to cut down on costs. It reportedly only had a budget of about $15 million, and outside of the costume, prosthetic, and makeup effects, you can tell. There are times when it works in the movie's favor, like how the instructions for how to use the substance feel like they were charging by the letter, or how a bathroom decorated entirely in plain white tile is the perfect backdrop whenever things get bloody. But I'm left wondering if the other cut corners were deliberate or a stylistic choice. Is Sue's new show meant to be a statement on the shallowness of modern media, or it's because they didn't have the budget to make it look like a real TV show? Same goes for the green screen on the late night show she appears on, or the fact that they maybe had 6 sets to work with. Also, the claustrophobic cinematography and sound design bring a certain level of disgust to every scene. No spoilers, but just be prepared to never look at poultry the same way after this. I had to cut up some raw chicken afterwards for dinner, and that wound up being, let's call it a challenge. As for the acting, while Qualley and Quaid are memorable in their own right, Moore delivers a career performance in this one. So much of the film hangs on her conveying complex emotions with virtually no dialogue and in near complete isolation, and she never lets up on that authenticity, even as the movie dives headfirst into insanity. But for as visually arresting and thought-provoking as the movie gets, it has one cardinal sin. It sticks around for way too long after the money shot. You'll know it exactly when you see it. There's one big reveal, a character falls to the floor, and the screen goes black. The credits could have rolled right there, and we'd have been golden. But the movie decides to limp along for another 15 minutes or so, in favor of an operatic splatterfest scene where they nearly drown a crowded theater in fake blood. And once it kept going after that, I was tempted to shout at the screen,
Just end! End!
My inclination is to say go see The Substance if you enjoy body horror, thought-provoking science fiction, or if you're a big Moore fan. But avoid it at all costs if you are squeamish. It'll definitely be up for awards conversation at the end of the year, and while it probably won't make my top 10, I don't think I'll forget this film for a long time. Thanks for watching.